All right, so today we are going to be talking about retardmaxxing. Now, obviously, that sounds kind of crazy. Like, why would I want to sit here and be a retard? But hear me out. So basically, like, what retardmaxxing encapsulates, I got that shit from a dude I was watching. He was talking about how like you should be retarded. Like, you should be retarded if you want to be successful, right? And there's definitely some truth in that. Like, the more oblivious you are to, I don't want to say your own power, but to the validity of what you're doing and the actual fruit of the labor that you're going to be putting in, if you're oblivious of that and you're not expecting an outcome, you're detached from the outcome, you're not attached to a specific outcome in a situation, that allows you to bring that into your life simply because you're unaware of it. Like, you're ignorant. That's why people say, like, ignorance is bliss. Like, the more you don't know, the more you allow things to just flow smoothly, right? So that's why when people enter like a flow state, that's when they get their best work in, because they're flowing. There's no resistance, right? Their thoughts, their mind, their body, their spirit, it's all flowing. It's in alignment. And that's the same way you have to approach acquiring certain things. You have to be like retarded. Like, you have to be naive. And what's interesting is, as we get older, right, the older we become, the harder that we try to reconnect with our inner child, right? But as we grow up, we're forced and we're told that we need to act our age. But as we get older, we try to revert back to our inner child, back to what we were as a child, because that was our truest, purest form of ourselves, and that was like our purest form of happiness, right? So reconnecting with that inner child, where it was limitless, like your mind was limitless. You had no idea of like a societal construct or finances or anything. Everything just was, right? Everything just existed. Like, you walked outside and it was just trees. Like, you had no explanation. You couldn't explain it. You couldn't explain why there's cars on the road. You couldn't explain why you were in a house. You couldn't explain why you couldn't get this thing, but you had this particular thing. Like, you couldn't explain that you're a kid, but you were happy regardless, right? Like, a fucking cupcake would make you ecstatic. But if you go get a cupcake now, it probably wouldn't make you that happy. You would just eat the fucking cupcake, right? So I personally think, like, one, if you reconnect with your inner child, that'll definitely help you bring a lot of like happiness to the surface and allow you to be unapologetically yourself. That way you can increase your own aura and be somebody different, right? Because a lot of people, they're trying to imitate each other, and you can't separate yourself from anybody else if you're not like different. So you literally have to be fucking different, and the way you do that is connect with your inner child. But back on track to retardmaxxing. So in the Parallel Universes itself is a book by Frederick Dotson. I think I'm pronouncing it right, Frederick Dotson. So basically, in the parallel universes, there's like an infinite amount of possibilities, right? So within our daily life, we literally have infinite possibilities between our choices. So one choice that you might have made today could have affected billions, trillions, infinitely amounts of possibilities, just because you chose differently. You chose a different action at that moment in time, and now you're on a different path, right? So when you're aware of that, you can guide literally your life. You can direct your life exactly the way you want it, because you know where your attention is going. You know exactly where you're going, because that's where you're putting your focus on, right? If you're putting your focus on unnecessary stuff that doesn't serve you, beliefs that don't serve you, thoughts that don't serve you, and they bring you down and they don't uplift you, well, what do you think you're going to see in your reality, right? That's where you begin to have the need to cut all that stuff out, and you start to feel overwhelmed. You can't really think for your own self. You don't really know your own self because you haven't listened. You haven't really given yourself like the quiet time to actually listen to what you truly actually want. Or even some people, they're scared to even be with them themselves because they have like some internal problem that they don't want to deal with, but they don't realize like the longer you put that off, the stronger it's going to get. And it's only a matter of time to either one, you cave in, or you're just going to have to deal with that shit, bro. Because nothing ever dissipates unless you have to deal with it. You're just going to keep re-experiencing the same shit. You have to choose to be better. You have to choose to give a fuck about your life. And it's crazy that like now so many people don't really give a fuck about their lives. It's easy to be exceptional in anything. Like you literally just have to do above the bare minimum, because that's what most people are doing. Like everybody's tied to their fucking phones and cellular devices, looking at other people be the main character. And they're not the main character themselves. They're just a background character. So if you could formulate a main character within yourself and become that person and really don't care what nobody say and just do you, bro, a whole bunch of stuff will come into your life that you're really not even going to expect, because everything is about you and not really anything about outside of you, right? Like if I'm doom scrolling all day and I'm interacting with all these posts and I'm not creating anything, I'm not being a creator, I'm being a consumer, why am I complaining when a situation in my life arises that I don't like and I'm being put at I got the bad hand of the stick in that situation? Well, I got to look at my karmic debt. Like, am I helping society? Am I helping the world get to a better place? Am I helping the world around me be a better place? Am I being a better person myself? If you can't answer those questions, then you shouldn't expect to have great things in your life. You shouldn't expect to have exceptional things in your life. You have to be an exceptional person first in order for everything to be given unto you. That's the way life works. Everything is internal. And the outside reflection is only a reflection. Like, you're not really supposed to identify with it because you are all that is. So why would you identify with something outside of yourself if you are all that is? But yeah, when you're retard maxing, you literally don't know what is going to happen. Like, you're just doing the action simply because you had an intuitive nudge to do it. You're doing it just because, like, you can. So you don't have an attachment to a specific outcome, and then you allow everything to flow to you. Do a certain action expecting a specific outcome, and you literally just do it for the love of the game. You then allow everything to literally just flow to you. And whatever you thought might have come out of that specific action, it probably will be way better than you might think it is, because you don't know what it's going to look like. The future and the past don't exist. Like, we only have the present moment, right? So if you're present in the present moment, this is the only place where you can receive, right? Why would you sit here and do an action in your future state, not in the present moment? Because you aren't present. You can't receive in the future. If your mind is in the future, in which doesn't exist, you can't receive it, because there's infinite possibilities. There's infinite possibilities. There's absolutely no way for you to quantify or even know which one of those infinite possibilities is going to come to you based off of your current actions. There's no way for you to know that. So the best thing would just to be present, no matter what you do, and not expect an outcome. That's why you have to be detached. That's why you have to not care. You have to not give a fuck. You have to literally be oblivious and retarded to anything that may happen to you, and be neutral. See it from a neutral point of view, right? When you do something and it yields a negative or a positive result in your perception, that's telling the universe that, hey, if I give this person a certain situation and it's able to internally shift them, whether it be negative or positive, that's where it's going to stop. It's not going to let you receive anything, because then you're attaching more importance and value to that particular situation, right? And you're not supposed to do that. You're literally supposed to be neutral in every single situation that happens to you, right? Because if something is able to internally shift you emotionally, that means that you didn't have that prior thing. That is signaling to the universe, that's signaling to God that you, one, didn't have that prior thing. You wasn't that thing. And you also are putting it above you because you're letting it internally shift you, positively or negatively. This is why you have to neutralize the pendulum swing. Like back in my old my last video, you have to neutralize the pendulum swing. That way you can continue to elevate throughout your life and receive higher vibrational experiences because you're not attached to them. Because when you grow in attachment, you're putting that thing above you. You're giving it way more importance than you should. You are the most important thing in your life, and you should treat it like that. Right? Nothing should be above you. Nothing should be above you. And when you're naive, you don't put anything above you because it is what it is. You don't really care if your action now yields a result. It is what it is. That's why beginner luck exists, because they don't know what like the end goal is supposed to look and feel like. So they're just doing it just to do it. They're in the present moment, right? When you're in the present moment, fulfilling an action, you're not looking or expecting anything in the future. You're not thinking about your previous experiences, whether or not you may have failed or have succeeded. You're just in the present moment, doing that particular thing, feeling how you normally would. And you just allow things to come to you. You just become a receiver. You attract everything to you. You never chase. Like when people say, "Oh yeah, bro, I'm chasing that bag." Yeah, you forever gonna be chasing that bag. Like every nigga that I've heard say, "Yeah, bro, I'm chasing that bag." They've been chasing that bag for years. I've never heard them stop that chase. It's always been a chase. Like, why don't you just let the bag come to you? Or matter of fact, why don't, nigga, you are the fucking bag. Why can't you be the bag? You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, be the fucking bag. That way, when stuff does start going right, you don't just go and blow it all. Like, the number one reason why lottery winners, no matter how much money they receive, they always blow that shit, is because they haven't internally shifted to the point where they're that particular person that had that level of money. They just simply don't know what to do with it because they aren't that person. They never became that person. They were just the same person that was broke. So then they're just going to, over time, eventually revert back to that same broke self-image. No matter if you gave them $1,000 or $100 billion, eventually they're going to go broke because they don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to make their money work for them because they haven't became that person. That's why none of this material shit matter. It's literally all a reflection of like your competency, like how competent are you as a person, and that increases your value on this earth. Not none of this material shit, like watches, jewelry, clothes, cars, homes, penthouses. Like, nigga, all that shit don't really fucking matter. All that shit really don't matter. And if you look and study most billionaires, bro, or at least like publicly billionaires, like public billionaires, they really don't own much. Well, they don't have much in their name. You know, that may be for legal and financial reasons, but it's also a mental attachment, because if you have all these things, if you acquire all these things, you're attached to all these things. That weakens your power because you give all this other materialistic stuff control over your life, and that dwindles your light and your ability to create different things.